I was asked a question the other day by George under the video that I basically told you everything about my nutrition. Well, pretty much everything, because otherwise there wouldn't be any other questions. But anyway, this George asked me, one thing I would like you to address more is eating carbohydrates post high intensity training session or race, which are important to replenish your body's glycogen stores. Looking at how well you performed in this period, I'm sure you thought about this and factored it in at the time. When you gave the example of a person having their carbs later in the day near to the time of their turbo session at 7 PM, for example, or when you stressed the importance of carbs before and during the races in Portugal, you didn't mention the importance of carbs as a recovery to replenish your stores. Is this something you did at the time, or is the importance to post-exercise carbs overstated? So to answer this, quite simply, it's yes and no. Unfortunately, nutrition is so tailored to the individual and the event and the session and whatever it is that I can't give you the simple answer. The simple answer is it depends. And as much as you probably don't want to hear that, that's the correct answer. The reason why I replenish glycogen stores after some stages in Portugal and not others is because some were harder than others. And you know, some of them I know I required more carbs because, you know, I did a big, you know, we went over one big climb near the end of the race and I had to go really, really deep, you know, VO2 max for 10 minutes, for example. So I know what my body has deserved and I know what to give it. In terms of when I'm at home and I'm just doing training sessions, to be honest, after a race, I think it's very, going back to the race situation, I think after a race it's very important to do that, full stop. Unless you're like a Chris Froome and you're racing your club 10 mile time trial, then possibly you're going to do it as an adaptation effect. So, you know, Froome doing his local club 10 as part of his training, he might abstain from eating carbohydrate afterwards just because he wants that effect. But if he was doing the Tour de France time trial, it's completely different. Or even if he was doing his club 10 and he was only a few days out from the Tour de France, which is obviously unlikely, but his recovery is paramount then because he's so close to that you know, that A grade race. So if I was doing my training at home and I know that I got a race coming up on the weekend, I do a really hard session on a Thursday and I'm in peak shape, then, you know, emphasis then will be on recovering as well as possible straight afterwards. The science still says that carbohydrate and protein immediately after exercise, because of the way your muscles kind of soak in that glycogen and actually use it as opposed to storing it, you know, the science is still there to say that that is the way to do it. However, if you abstain from eating the carbohydrate and you just have protein, for example, remember, it doesn't have to be a particular supplement. It can be you know, a glass of milk, skim milk with a banana, and then you've got, you know, a big chunk of your carbs. And, you know, in terms of protein, if you wanted to, I guess, you know, a tin of tuna. I mean, I remember watching an ad, I can't remember what it was now, but basically what they were saying on the advert was that, oh, here's me with my, you know, my whey protein shake after an hour in the gym, and then somebody comes over and they're like, here's me with my tin of tuna, and they're like, both got 25 grams of protein, you know, both got 0 carbs, and it's like, well, actually this one is a lot cheaper than this one, and they both do the exact same thing. Okay, there's some amino acids mixed in with the real posh whey protein supplements, but hey, it's if you're into keeping it natural, then that's the way you could do it. So I hope that kind of answers your question. Like, it really does all depend on what you're doing and what your goal is for that particular session. If it's to lose weight, then maybe try to abstain from carbohydrate afterwards, you know, especially if you're not doing another session for, you know, 2 days or so, because your body will eventually recover. It might recover slower, but it'll still recover. You know, if you take away those carbohydrates post exercise. So you know, just remember that. So I hope that answers your question.